Hey guys, it's Francis the instructor with Get Licensed, and I'm here today to talk about show me tell me questions on your driving test. So the show me tell me questions, also called vehicle safety questions, are a very small part of your driving test. They just test your basic knowledge and understanding of keeping your vehicle safe and roadworthy. On your driving test, the examiner will ask you one question at the beginning. They'll ask you to tell them something. Then while you're driving, the examiner will ask you to show them something inside the car. It's going to be really simple, one button, like demist the front windscreen, wash and clean the windscreen, open and close your window. The stuff while you're driving isn't going to be difficult, but the stuff before your driving test that you need to tell them might need a little bit of revision. So let's help with that. There are 14 possible tell me questions, and the examiner will ask you one of these before the test starts. So let's start with number one. Tell me how you check the brakes are working before starting your journey. So when you test the brakes, pressing the pedal, they shouldn't feel spongy or slack. If they don't feel like they've got any resistance, imagine pulling your handlebars on your bicycle. You can feel the brake pads pressing into either the rim or the brake discs. If you can't feel that and there's no resistance, the brake pedal's floppy, you don't have any brakes, it's not safe to set off. Then once you set off, if you can feel the firm resistance, test the brakes again, and the car shouldn't pull to one side. If you can feel the car pulling to one side, then there might be an imbalance or one of the brakes on one side of the car isn't working. Again, get that checked out before you set off. Number two, tell me where you'd find the information for the recommended tyre pressures and how you check the tyre pressures. Really simple, you check the tyre pressures with a reliable tyre pressure gauge. You can go to most petrol stations and find air and water machines. You take the air hose, you plug it into your tyre, and it will tell you what your tyre pressures are. Then you will find the tyre pressures always in the manual, and the manual should be located in the glove box. So as a stock answer, you can just say it's in the manual. Some cars will have the tyre pressures written inside the fuel filler cap. Some cars will have them just there, like mine does. Some cars will have them in other places. But if you know your tyre pressures for your car, you won't need to keep checking it. But if the examiner asks you, it's in the manual, which it always is. Number three, tell me how to adjust your headrest correctly so it provides the best protection in the event of an accident. So headrest, the middle should be in line with your ears and eyes. It's not there for you to rest your head on when you get tired. It's just there so that when you have an accident, your head doesn't roll back. It's nice and straight so that you don't get whiplash. Number four, tell me how you check the tyres to make sure they've got enough tread depth and their general condition is safe to use on the road. So from your theory test, you will already know that your tyre should have 1.6 millimeters of tread in the center 3/4 of the wheel around the entire circumference of the wheel, which basically just means the middle needs to be 1.6 millimeters. The outers of the tyres can wear out a little bit faster, but that tread needs to be around the whole of the wheel. Okay, you're also looking for no cuts or bulges on the sidewall of the tyre. If there's a slash or a cut in the tyre, it's obviously going to damage the integrity of the tyre. If there's a bulge, it looks a little bit like a golf ball trying to get out of the tyre from the inside, then obviously the inside's compromised. Again, your tyre's not safe. Get them changed. Five, tell me how you check your headlights and tail lights are working. Okay, really simple. When you're driving at night, in general, you're going to use dipped headlights. You will have two white lights on the front and you'll have two dim red lights on the back, not the brake lights, tail lights. So all you do to check them is you turn on the dipped headlights, you get out and you check the front, and then you check the back. Done. Number six, tell me how you'd know if there was a problem with your anti-lock braking system. Again, another really simple one. If there's a problem with your anti-lock braking system, a warning light comes on your dashboard and it is orange in color. It says ABS on it. When you turn your car on, all of the lights come on, so you'll be able to see it, and then they should disappear again if there's no problem. If the ABS light stays on, you want to get that checked out by a garage. Number seven, tell me how you'd know if the direction indicators are working. Okay, so to make all of the direction indicators flash at the same time, you turn on your hazard lights. You can hear them clicking, you can see them flashing, but that doesn't tell you that the bulbs are working. You need to get out and you need to check each indicator bulb around your car to make sure that each bulb is illuminating when the sound is clicking. Number eight, tell me how you know if the brake lights are working. So if I press the brakes, the brake lights will light up on the back of the car. But if I get out of the car, I can't press the brakes at the same time. So I'm going to need someone to help me. I'm going to ask someone to go around the back of the car and check my brakes. Hey Philip, can you check my brake lights please? He's going around the back and he's having a look at both of the brake lights for me. He's giving me the thumbs up. My brake lights are working. Safe to roll. Okay, cool. Thanks.
My new video. Baiting me out. It's cool.
Do you want me to call you John?
No.
Do it again? Okay. Alternatively, if you don't have anyone to help you, you can check in reflections of other vehicles or windows. Number 9, tell me how you can check if the power steering is working before starting a journey. Okay, so the answer on the gov.uk website is really long-winded and a little bit confusing. So the way I like to tell people to check this is, when the engine's off, the steering should be really stiff. It's not locked, it's just this hard to move. If I turn the engine on, the steering becomes light and it's very easy to move. If this doesn't happen and the steering doesn't become light and free when the engine's switched on, then it's not working. Simples. Number 10. Okay, tell me how you'd switch on the rear fog lights and explain when you would use them. From your theory test, you know that you need to use fog lights when the visibility is reduced to less than 100 meters. In every car, it's going to be slightly different to turn on the rear fog lights, but in my car, you turn on the dipped headlights first and you press this button. In your car, read through the manual and it will tell you how to turn them on. Number 11. Tell me how you'd switch your headlights from dip beam to main beam and how do you know main beam is switched on. You're going to use dip beam when it's dark, when it's night, generally any time that there's low or poor visibility. It helps other people to see you and keeps you safe. So dip beam is on like that, and you switch to main beam by pressing the indicator stalk away from you. You will see a blue warning light on your dashboard, and that's how you know main beam is switched on. It's not when you can see it in front of you, because imagine you've got main beam on when it's daytime, you will not see it. You'll be blinding other people oncoming, but you won't see the fact that it's on. So make sure you're checking your dashboard, watching for the warning lights, looking at the information that the car is giving you. So there are 3 more tell me questions, which are all under the bonnet. The examiner might ask you to open the bonnet to show them what you're talking about. So you need to know how to open the bonnet. In my car, the bonnet release catch is on the passenger side. In your car, it might be slightly different. If you haven't found it, again, read through the manual. It will tell you exactly where that is and what you need to do. So let's jump out of the car. Okay, so let's go to open the bonnet. On my car, there's a yellow catch just on the left-hand side. You flick that right and push up. Then we can prop the bonnet open like so. And there's 3 things that we need to know underneath here. So number 1, the question is identify the brake fluid reservoir and tell me how you check it. So this one's the brake fluid reservoir. We know this because it's got the sign for brakes on it. The little circle is a wheel and the brackets are the brakes clamping the wheel. So if we look for that sign, you'll always find the brake fluid reservoir wherever it is on your car. Next, engine coolant. Here's where we keep the engine coolant and you check that it's in between minimum and maximum. Be careful though, because this gets really hot. It goes around the engine, it heats up a lot and it's pressurized. So you don't want to open that when it's hot and you don't want to check it when it's hot, because as the liquid expands, it gives you an incorrect reading. Next, how do you check the level of oil in your engine? So we're going to need a cloth for this. You don't have to demonstrate this on your driving test, but I'm going to demonstrate it so you know what it looks like. We'll pull out the dipstick and it's been sloshing around in engine oil in the sump. So we'll clean that off. It's got no oil on it, clean. Dip it back into the oil and then we'll read where that comes up to. So at the moment our oil is coming up just above maximum because again our engine's been running for a while. The engine oil gets hot, it expands, so that's another one that you're going to check when the engine is cold. Here's where you would fill up the oil. This is just to check. So remove the cap, fill the oil if that's necessary. If you're getting your engine serviced regularly at the regular intervals, then you shouldn't need to fill up the oil at any point. They'll do that on your service. Lastly, it's not on the show me tell me questions, but it's really important. If you try and pull or push for the screen wash to wash the windscreen and nothing comes out, then you need to open this and fill it up with screen wash. If you're in a situation where you aren't able to access any screen wash from a garage or from a petrol station, then you can fill this up with water and a tiny bit of fairy liquid. If anything else goes wrong inside your engine or you get any warning lights that you don't understand and you can't fix by yourself, then you should phone a breakdown company to come and help you. Okay, I'm going to close the bonnet now. So lift, slot that back into place and push. If it's not closed properly, you need to make sure that you give it one firm push and the bonnet is flush with the bumper. So now we've covered the tell me questions. Watch the video back a few times so that you can learn, revise and understand why these are important, not just for your test, but the whole time you own a car. Now let's go and cover the show me questions. These are the questions that the examiner will ask you while you're driving. It's not hard, it's really simple, 1 button stuff. You push it, you turn it off, and then it's over. You carry on driving. I'll explain what the question's for, what the question means, and how you operate the button. On your car though, bear in mind it might be in a slightly different place. I've got a Ford Focus. If you've got a different car, read through the manual and you can find where the button is on your car. Okay, let's go driving. Okay, so before your examiner asks you any of the show me questions, they will first say when it's safe to do so. It's normally safe to do any of the operations that they're asking you to do, but it takes the urgency out of the question. So while you're completing, let's say a turn or indicating or checking your mirrors, you get that done first, and then when you're calm and relaxed and you can focus on something else, then you get that done. So when it's safe to do so, show me how you demist the front windscreen. On, off, keep driving. Now let's say I'm trying to get something else done. Now I'm turning right. When it's safe to do so, demist your rear windscreen. I'm going to hold that for a minute while I make sure that I complete this turn properly. And now I'm going to think about it. So on, off, complete. When it's safe to do so, open and close your side window. Done. When it's safe to do so, sound your horn. This is the only question I would say you need to consider, whether it is actually safe to sound your horn. If there's a vehicle in front of you, if there's a pedestrian around you, it might not be safe. You might startle somebody. So there's a vehicle right in front of me, there's pedestrians and a cyclist around me. I'm going to hold off on that instruction for a second. Past the pedestrian, the cyclist and the other road user. Easy. When it's safe to do so, wash and clean the front windscreen. Pull the right stick towards you. Screen wash will shoot out of the squirters and the wipers will start wiping. When it's safe to do so, wash and clean your rear windscreen. Exactly the same, push it the other way. Back window's washing and I can see. When it's safe to do so, turn on your dipped headlights. On, off. All of these things on the show me questions are really important that you understand and know how to use them while you're driving. If you're on a motorway and your windscreen mists up, if you're driving down a country lane and you get splashed by mud, let's say it's dark and you're driving through a really busy town centre, you can't pull over and do these. You need to be able to do them while you're driving. So a little bit of practice and familiarization with the controls is really helpful. So it's really important that you familiarize yourself with the controls in your car so that you can do these things really quickly, effectively, and without too much fuss. All right, guys, so there's the show me, tell me questions. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of help and insight into what the examiner is going to ask you before and during your driving test. It's not too hard, but you're going to want to revise it. Any more questions, post them below. If you want to see any other videos like this, post it below. I read through all the comments and I'll be replying as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next video.